In this video we're going to be looking at a Loki build order in Age of Mythology Retold, and this one is for the Loki Hersir rush, which is a classical build order from the pre-retold days, if you like. So it's not as strong as it used to be, but it's still a very good build order to use, and you can actually use this build order as a standard build order for Loki going forward. So we'll be reaching the classical age at about 3 minutes and 50 seconds. And as you can see, by about 5 minutes, you should be putting pressure on the opponent, as we are doing here, and it's going to be really strong. So if you're looking for a build order that's going to certainly counter the Cyclops rush from Hades or the Minotaur rush from Zeus, this will be really strong, because the Hersir will eat those myth units for breakfast. So let's dive in and have a look at the build order. Okay, so for this particular build order for Age of Mythology Retold, for Loki, we're going to be sending our first 3 villagers over to the main hunt, and then we're going to send 1 over to gold, followed by a dwarf. So that's what we're doing now. So I always find that the build orders for the Norse are certainly going to be quite challenging for newer players. I mean, eventually it will come with muscle memory once if you're doing the same build over and over again, but it's very much like 1 here, 1 there, 1 here, 1 there, in terms of the villager distribution. That's because you've got the 2 different types of villagers, which obviously you want to be adding dwarf because it makes it a bit more refined, if you like. So once that dwarf came out, we're sending 1 over to wood, and then we're going to add another dwarf to the gold. Now you might find that we're just waiting a little bit before you can, like a couple of seconds before you can create that second dwarf. We'll just wait for that gatherer to drop off the gold, but just keep spamming that hotkey to create the dwarf and you should be fine. So once the second dwarfs come out, we're going to add 1 more villager onto food. So that'll give us 4 on food, 3 on gold and 1 on wood. And then we're going to add another dwarf, which is what we're doing now. And then after that, we're just going to add 4 onto food. And that will take us up to 15 population at that stage. You can see that we use the Berserk to make a house. Doesn't really matter when you do that, but I like to do it straight away. Then I don't forget about it then. But what we have to be careful with is when that dwarf comes out, just keep an eye on that villager, let it drop off the resources it's got, and then send it over to wood. Okay, and now we're on that 4 villagers to food stage, so we're just sending them over. Whilst that's happening, the Berserk is going around scouting, and we're going to be looking at building a temple. Now I like to build this quite far forward, ideally near one of the town centres, just so we can kind of claim that as much as we can, and hopefully that will help us in denying any 2TC plays that your opponent might be doing. So we're getting that down, making a little forward base. We've just got 1 more villager to come over onto the food at this point, so we'll have 8 on food, and then we're just going to add 1 more dwarf over to gold, and then we should be able to click up to the classical age. So what we're going to do is you'll probably need to drop off some resources. You'll notice I've split these into 2 different deer. It just makes it a little bit easier, because if they're all on 1 deer, 1 would finish, and then they're all trying to shoot deer, and it just makes things a bit of a mess. So we've clicked up, we have to drop off the food to be able to do so, and we're going to move 2 from the food over to wood. So we'll have 4 on wood, 4 gold dwarves, and we'll have 6 on food still. So we've clicked up, we're going up with Heimdall. And the reason why we're doing that is because we want the myth unit, which is the Einari. I can't really pronounce it, but they've also got quite a good god power, which is Undermine. So Undermine, basically just cast it and it does like a trail of damage through the enemy town. So you use that on the town centre, it causes quite a bit of damage to it. So use that in play with sort of taking down the enemy town centre. So just keep making Hersirs at this point, and when we hit the classical age, as you can see in the queue here, we've got 2 dwarfs queued up. We're going to just send those over to gold, and then once we've got the 2 on gold, we're just going to send the rest of the new villagers over to food, so probably chickens, whilst these ones finish off the deer. Those ones might move to a second deer patch if you've got one close by. We don't have one close by, so I'll probably send those to berries for the time being. But just keep on making Hersirs. You want to probably drop down some more houses, get a long house, get a great hall perhaps as well. That will just help make sure that you've got all the counters that you need in case your enemies go in for military infantry units. You can use the longhouse to create the throwing axemen, or if you wanted to add raiding cavalry, you can do so through the great hall there. But you just keep on producing Hersirs, and when you can, keep adding the Iron Eyrie, because we want to get quite a mass of those if possible. Well, no, 3 or 4 would be plenty, because they are as close as you're going to get to a siege unit in the classical age for Loki. So they have a bonus damage against buildings, which is going to be really useful. The reason why we're going for Hersir, quite a heavy Hersir rush, is because they have a bonus, or the Loki has a bonus, where the more damage you cause, it kind of adds to a pool that will then spawn a new myth unit for free, which is quite good. It's not as strong as it used to be. It's not as frequent as it used to be in the old version of the game, but still quite handy. You know, it's a free unit at the end of the day, which is going to be really useful. So just keep on pushing forward. Try and pick off villages if you can, but once you've got a decent enough mass together, go and attack the town centre, drop the undermine god power, because that will take probably a third of the health off, if not half of the health of the town centre. It just makes it come down really quick, and can actually get the town centre down at about 8.5 minutes, which is ridiculously fast, to be honest. And that's it really for this one. So just keep on pushing, keep on raiding, keep on killing villagers until you're going to go and attack the TC, and that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did find it useful, then do hit the like button, and do consider subscribing as well if you want some more Age of Mythology build orders. And I'll see you on the next one.